boy, they've got such good ideas. And I really felt that way all through my career, that I learned so much because we got these just very interesting people with a lot of different backgrounds and so on. Well, I'll stop there. I'll just say that one of the things I think about our field, and I was thinking about this last night, in 1962, I think it was 1962, there was a CEC conference in Winnipeg, Ontario. And is Winnipeg in Ontario? No, Winnipeg is Manitoba.
One of those places.
It's in Canada somewhere.
It's cold.
Anyway, a group of us went up from the university. We drove up in a car. And I was asked to be on a panel, and the panel was going to have someone who was like a special education policy person, someone was a psychologist, psychotherapist, and someone was a teacher. And I was the teacher. And the policy person was Eli Bauer. And he was so nice and generous. I don't remember who the psychologist was. It didn't make that much of a impression, but I knew Bauer's name. And I was sort of overawed, you know, because at that time I think he was at the National Institutes of Public Health, and he'd been the commissioner of mental health in California and so forth. But he was just as genial and friendly and nice. And one of the things I think I picked up from him, just informal conversation, but I've always remembered, which is one of the things that makes people in this field, I think, nice, is the fact that you can't be a stuffed shirt. You know, there is all of us have had experiences where these kids have really just humiliated us. I mean, they tend to be smarter, and they are risk takers. They will risk all, and we're often just not up to it. We just wimp out. So, I think it's one of the things that keeps the people genuine, and. So I'll just mention that, and it was so nice to be reminded of him and his contributions. And
we've gotten away from the notion that, well, or maybe I should do it the other way around. We've gotten to the notion that teachers one person should be able to do all of it. A third grade teacher or a high school biology teacher or a middle school teacher should be fine with the fact that they have kids who may have serious emotional disturbances. They may have kids with lowered IQs. They may have kids who are extremely gifted. They may have kids who are not native speakers. They may have all sorts of kids in their classroom, and that's just fine. And they should just do that. And you know, there'll be a little support and there'll be a little help back there, but those are all your kids. Part of me argues that, yeah, they are your kids. But part of me also thinks, there are those of us, I take myself as a personal point, I am passionately interested in the behavior of kids. I am not nearly as passionately interested in their reading scores. That's just not my love. That's not what I feel that I'm best at, and that's not really what I wanted to do. And I see a lot of teachers in that situation too. We used to joke in our early days back when teachers had categorical definitions, and you'd have students who were going to be LD teachers and BD teachers and MR teachers. We used to joke that after the first or second class, we could pick those kids out. They weren't necessarily, case in point in this room. And you could kind of go around and say, yeah, if that person's heading for LD, that's, yeah. And we were pretty much right, because it was just what people wanted to do. And that's fine. I think expertise is okay. I think it's all right to want to be the best BD person or the person who has a lot to do with behavior disorders. Just like in high school, it's supposed to be okay to be the person who wants to teach physics.
It really diminished that.
We have diminished it. We've lost a lot of it. And I can sort of see where it comes from. We are inclusive. We want to be inclusive. We want everybody to have access. But that's come to mean everybody's going to do it the same way with one person doing it. And even, students who have exceptional gifts and talents would, we just sort of do it all. And teachers are trying to do that. But the inevitable thing is that they start to get mad at those kids who they don't understand, and they never signed up for this anyway. And then you have this whole group of people over here that did sign up for it, and they're sort of relegated to the tutoring role, or to being in the back of the room, being a support. And I think that development, I'm not sure anyone could have foreseen that when the whole inclusion notion started, but I think that development is something that is having serious negative effects on the field. I hear, as we all do, from teachers who've been in the field a while saying, this is not the job I wanted, and I'm going to find something else. And and maybe the new people coming in. I mean, a lot of those people, I suppose, are my age. But I hear even from new students coming in who are passionate about doing something, and then they get out there and realize, well, that thing I'm passionate about, that's like 10% of what I get to do. I'm not sure I want to sign up for that. And I have no answer to that. I can't fix it. But I think the notion that expertise is somehow not a good thing is a definitely wrong way to go.
Later, and we're still only halfway there. Although, of course, the numbers of kids and programs have increased a lot too. In the last night, in the discussion of Eli Bauer's work, there was mention, of course, of some of the limitations of the definition and criteria in Public Law 94/142 for serious emotional disturbance. And I think there are some. It always seems like talking about definition shouldn't be so important, but it comes down to being really important in terms of policy and practice, because if students with social maladjustment are excluded, even though when Bauer developed this definition, this was a definition of kids with social maladjustments and emotional disturbances, that provides a kind of a way out, and has. I've seen this for throughout my career in Kansas, where administrators particularly will use this as a reason not to identify kids and provide services, because this child only has social maladjustments. This child, and it has been generalized even to this child only has conduct disorders. This child is not emotionally disturbed. It's only conduct disorder. Even though conduct disorders, of course, is a DSM-IV classification. And then another piece of that definition that I think has been wrongly, incorrectly interpreted is that to qualify, the child must be, the child's education must be adversely affected. The educational performance is adversely affected. And that word education has been used by many people and continues to be used by many people to be equivalent to academic rather than educational. And so there are kids who are not eligible or found not to be eligible because academically they're doing okay. They're not failing everything. Educationally, they are failing because education involves something much more than just, not that the 3 R's aren't important, but it's more than that too. It's the social skills, the citizenship, and that really is the purpose of compulsory public education in this country, to help prepare citizens to participate in a democratic